What I wanted to ask you is one of the quotes you said that kind of to take away from this. You said curation is journalism. I'm curious what goes behind that thought process. What makes you?
So you have to be very, very, very careful with the word journalism because it means something different to everyone. And for a lot of people, it is a kind of a term that establishes an elite that's better than everyone else. And I think you have to be very, very careful with the use of that term. I try to just avoid it because it is so loaded. I think curation plays a legitimate role in the news process because what's happening is that we have, as we discussed in the panel, we have a situation where we can crowdsource the raw materials, where we might have a photo or something and then have to put some context around it, and then we can crowdsource the distribution, which is to say, hey, you're going to share this out on Twitter, you think this is a legitimate source, you're going to share it on Facebook, and there's those two halves with the creation and the curation, and I think they're both important, legitimate parts of the news process with the professional editor right in the middle. So yes, I feel like curation is an essential part of the news process. Is it part of journalism? I stay away from that word if I can.
Do you think you can curate or crowdsource the gathering of the information, much like iReport does? Is that something that you think plays into that?
Yes, I absolutely think that the news gathering process can be crowdsourced and in many cases should be crowdsourced because these news organizations can't have reporters on the ground in every single location all the time, especially when something unexpected happens. If there's a war going on, you're going to send a reporter out there, but if suddenly there's an earthquake or suddenly there's a tsunami, you're not necessarily going to have the people on the ground in time, and that's the point at which, or even plane in the Hudson, which is the most often cited example, you're not necessarily going to have people on the ground. So it's great to have these camera phones out there, to have people grabbing the raw materials, but then that going back to a centralized place where the professional editor can make sense of it all.
Cool. And last question I'll ask you, Mashable, always on pulse of what's coming up. South by Southwest, what are you seeing is like the breakaway?
So, South by is all about location this year. It's all about mobile. It's all about knowing where your friends are. I think, last couple of years it's been all about Twitter. This year it's more about services like Walla, which is native to Austin, and Foursquare, which is a New York startup, where it's essentially about, where are my friends, and also checking into venues, sharing that out, earning badges for checking in. What it's really doing is taking this social networking to the real world, where you're checking into real world venues and also finding out where your friends are and perhaps connecting with them in real space and real time.
And last question I ask you, if we know where everyone is, crowdsourcing journalism might be a lot easier then.
It could be a lot easier, and what if you could check in as an iReporter? What if you could say, I'm checking in because I'm in Haiti and there's just been an earthquake? I think that could very much be a use case for knowing where people are at any time. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, Pete.